Hi, I'm Nancy and I'm 24 years old. Getting married might have been a questionable decision for me. I was young and thought I'd found the love of my life, but things changed quickly. I wish I could remember everything perfectly, but honestly, I'd rather forget. I got engaged in late December. It was cold in Oklahoma, but whenever I was with Paul, my husband, it felt warm. His mom, Jackie, seemed like a calm woman, someone who'd be easy to live with. Paul's dad wasn't around anymore, so I respected Jackie a lot for raising him on her own. Unfortunately, this would end up affecting our relationship in a big way. You can marry him, but he'll always be my boy, understand? Jackie told me that the first day after the wedding, her tone was off, and suddenly, the calmness I saw in her was gone. She sounded strict and bitter. Had I done something wrong? Of course, Jackie, you were his mom after all. You can think of me as your daughter too if you'd like, I said. I don't need a daughter. Now go do the dishes. I want you to make something fresh and delicious for your first day. You've got to impress your mother-in-law, right? Oh, okay, of course, Jackie. I'll do my best. Why was she being so rude to me all of a sudden? I couldn't figure it out. It was like she was a completely different person. Paul was somewhere in the backyard trimming the bushes, but I was sure he could hear us. Either way, I cleaned the kitchen for lunch. No one had cleaned the dishes from the night before, so I had to do it all by myself. It felt like I was doing someone else's work, but I didn't complain. Maybe Jackie was just having a bad day. It would get better in a day or two, I was sure of it. Later in the evening, I relaxed with Jackie and Paul. He and I were talking a bit, but Jackie kept giving us looks. Soon, I prepared dinner for the first time for Jackie. I was desperate for her approval. Oh, this food is kind of terrible. Where'd you learn how to cook? Jackie said. Oh, come on, Mom, it's not that bad, Paul chimed in. It's that bad, Paul. I thought you loved this dish, I replied. Get over yourself. My son has higher standards than that, don't you, my baby? Yeah, Ma, I don't think it's all that bad, just add some salt. Honestly, I'm surprised it's edible. You could have cooked the meat more, Nancy. Any more undercooked, and I'd swear the slime was still bleeding. I'm so sorry. We can throw it out, and I'll make something else really fast. Oh no, please sit down and eat. The damage is done. Paul, call the ambulance. I'm about to eat this. If my liver fails, know that I love you. And Nancy, know that your food barely qualifies as edible. These taunts only became more frequent with time. Jackie would force me to cook and then insult the food until it was too cold to eat. She'd even complain when we got takeout from a local fast food place. You know, Nancy, I don't think it's worth gaining as much weight as you have over food that tastes like this. Honestly, how did you even manage to marry my son when your taste in everything else is so terrible? I couldn't take it anymore and ran out crying. Paul came to me about half an hour later. He was such a different man around his mother. When I met him at work, he was vocal and encouraging. Now it was like he was chained to his mom, never standing up for me or saying anything. Hey, I'm sorry about the way things have been lately. I know you and Mom are not getting along. Look, she's just not used to having another person around, so she's lashing out. I know in my heart that she loves you. Paul and I were talking things over one day. Jackie had gone out to do some grocery shopping, so we had some alone time. Paul, you couldn't be more clueless. Your mom always sounds like she hates me and everything I do. I've tried my best, but it's not working out. What do I even do here? Time, Nancy, just give it time. She'll soften up, I know it. You're the one who's gone soft. You never say anything to her. You never take a stand for me. What happened to you, Paul? What happened to me? I'm the same. I don't know what you're talking about, but that woman is my mother. Why would I ever stand against her? Because she's being horribly unfair to me. What did I even do to deserve this from her? I'm just trying to be part of the family. And that's the problem, Nancy. Being part of the family will take time and effort. Lots of it. I just say roll with the punches. It'll grow on you. This is her way of showing love, okay? Forget about it. How about we go catch a movie? I suggested. Paul replied, I just feel like being alone right now. Then why did you get married? Paul joked. Come on, stop being down. Watch a movie with me, and we'll have a good time. I promise. I finally agreed, even though I was unhappy with how things had been lately. I hoped the movie theater would give us some time alone, away from Jackie. We got there before Jackie came home. Once we had our popcorn and settled in our seats, Paul's phone rang. Hello, Mom. Yes, we went to watch a movie. I left a note on the fridge. Didn't you see it? What do you want to talk about now? Okay, hold on. What happened? I'm so sorry. I think I need to talk to her for a minute. I'll step out and be back in just 5 minutes, okay? Paul got up and left the theater. He said he'd be right back, but he stayed gone the entire movie. He only came back when the credits were rolling. I went to check on him later, but I couldn't find him in the halls, and his phone was still busy. It was clear that Jackie kept Paul occupied even when she wasn't around. It was getting hard to handle. I had some alone time in the theater to think. Maybe it was partly Paul's fault for always letting Jackie have her way. How could he leave me like this after promising we'd have a good time? When he came back, I was furious. Are you serious? Where have you been? I demanded. Whoa, where's this coming from? Paul asked, confused. You left for 2 hours, you didn't watch the movie with me, and you weren't even in the halls. Where were you? Relax, we can still watch the credits together. Isn't that enough? And no, I wasn't in the halls. I had somewhere to be. And where was that? I asked. I went to help Mom. With what? Groceries. You left me alone to help Jackie with groceries? What did she need help with? She's an old woman, Nancy. She can't do it all by herself. Oh, so she can drive to the store and buy groceries, but suddenly she needs your help to put them in the fridge, and you just said yes. Can you stop making a big deal out of this? I already told you, she's my mother. I can't say no to her. I'm so upset right now. I'm going to the car, I said, leaving the theater. Paul followed me, but he didn't say a word. Something didn't add up. I knew he didn't go home just for groceries. There was more to it. Maybe they met up to talk without me. Going to the movies and leaving me there was a perfect way to get rid of me for a few hours. But maybe I was overthinking it. When we got home, Jackie had nothing nice to say. Oh, you're back. How lovely. What were you up to while my poor boy helped me with all the groceries, eating popcorn? Jackie, it was Paul's idea to take me to the movies. It's not my fault you needed help with groceries, and he left so suddenly. Oh, you have some nerve talking to me like that, girl. Do you know who I am? I'm his mother. He'll do whatever I want, won't you, boy? Mom, can we stop talking about this already? I'm tired and want to sleep. I'd be tired too if I was married to her. Go take your nap and I'll make dinner. Nancy, why don't you make yourself useful and go get some chicken from the supermarket? I forgot to get it today. Fine, I agreed, even though I didn't want to go. But I wanted to get away from her at any cost. I got in the car and started driving away. I didn't know if I could tell my parents how things were going at home. I decided to drive to my brother's place instead. He lived just a few miles away, and he's always had my back. Having a sibling who understands you is such a blessing. Acis, how's it going? What brings you here so suddenly? Rob asked. You have no idea, Rob. Things are really bad for me right now, I replied. Wait, what? I thought you really liked him. What happened? It's like he's a different person around his mother. They both keep bothering me, and she says awful things all the time. I don't know if I can handle it. Sometimes I don't even feel like eating because of the horrible things she says about my body. What? She said that. Tell me everything right now, Rob demanded. So I told him about the hurtful comments, the constant mocking, and the mean things Jackie said. Rob was furious, not just with Jackie, but also with Paul for not standing up for me. He had believed they would be good to me when we got married, but now his trust was broken, just like mine. We need to have some kind of intervention, Rob suggested. Don't do anything extreme, but don't suffer in silence either. The next time she says something hurtful, we respond. We don't tolerate bullying. You're right, I agreed. I'll stay strong and stand up for myself. And if it gets too bad, I know I can always come here. Exactly, Rob reassured me. Don't worry, if it gets out of hand, we'll deal with it together. You're not alone, Neve. Okay, Rob. Thank you so much. Rob has always been a protective big brother, but unlike Jackie, he knows how to be protective without overshadowing me. On my way back home, I quickly grabbed some chicken. I knew Jackie would have something to say because I was late. What did you do? Eat a whole chicken on your way home and then go back to grab another one, she sneered. That's enough, Jackie. You don't have to be so rude to me. I finally stood up for myself. Oh, look what your wife is saying to me, Paul. Do you really think you can talk to me like that and get away with it? Jackie came close, glaring at me. Her eyes were so intense, it felt like she wanted to scare me. But I stood my ground, even though I was terrified. No one had ever been this angry at me before, not to the point where it felt like they might actually hurt me. When I didn't back down, Jackie shoved me and snatched the chicken away from me. You're lucky your husband isn't awake. He'd divorce you right now if I asked him to. All I'd have to do is show him how terrible you are at everything. If I'm so terrible, why did he marry me? Wasn't it you who supported us? I shot back. Yes, it was. But at the time, I thought you'd be a good helping hand in my old age. Turns out, that was a mistake. You're not even good enough to be a qualified maid. If you want a maid, just pay to have one, you cheapskate, I retorted. Don't you dare call me a cheapskate. You don't know who you're dealing with. The man you call your husband was raised by my hand, and my hand alone. And my hand can decide if you stay or go. Right now, I'm tempted to let you go. Jackie screamed at me so loudly that I was sure the whole neighborhood heard. I couldn't hold back my tears anymore. I broke down, sobbing, and ran into the backyard, slamming the sliding door behind me. I sat down in the grass and cried my heart out. I finally decided I couldn't handle it anymore and called Rob. I told him everything, and he came over the next morning. When the doorbell rang, Jackie walked up to the door and peered through the peephole. Rob? Nancy, you called your brother. What's this supposed to be? She asked, surprised. Rob was big and could be intimidating if he wanted to be. To me, he was like a big teddy bear, but he could easily look like a wrestler when needed. Rob wants to talk to you and Paul about everything that's been going on. You're not treating me kindly, and I can't keep living like this, I told her. Are you serious right now? This matter didn't need to leave our living room, and you decided to call him in the morning because Paul's at work, didn't you? Jackie said, clearly annoyed. Just open the door, Jackie, I insisted. I wished Paul was around when Rob visited, but this was the only time he could come. Jackie made a face but opened the door with a fake smile, trying to seem pleasant as if Rob would believe her act. Oh, Rob, it's been so long since I've seen you. How have you been? You look healthy. Thank you, it's been a while. Can I come in? Rob replied. Of course. Please come in. Nancy, get some water for your big brother, Jackie said, still pretending. It's okay, I just had some in my car, Rob said as he walked in. His presence quickly filled the room. He moved around, inspecting the house, and then settled on the couch in front of Jackie. I sat down next to him. So what brings you here? Just a visit? Jackie asked. No, actually I wanted to check up on Nancy. She mentioned some trouble, Rob responded. Oh, what trouble? I think we've been getting along splendidly, haven't we, Nancy? Why don't you tell him? She's already told me enough, Rob cut in. Let's get to the point. You've been having some, let's say, adjustment issues with my sister. I understand there have been constant fights. Oh, I wouldn't call them fights, just banter. It happens between mothers and daughters. My mother-in-law and I exchanged quite a few words back in the day, too. Sadly, she passed away before Paul was born. I'm sorry to hear that, but this banter needs to stop. Nancy isn't fond of it. Marriage should be about mutual respect, even from the rest of the family. Right, Nancy? Rob said. Yes, I think it's time to settle this and make peace, Jackie. And what dispute would that be? Why have you changed? Why do you hate me so much all of a sudden? Did I do something to upset you? Oh my God, do we have to do this in front of your brother? Don't mind me, I'm here to make sure you two settle this properly, Rob said, staying calm. Fine, it's because I don't like to share, okay? My son has been mine and only mine our whole lives, and now you're here, expecting him to give all his time to you. That doesn't sit right with me. He's my husband, and he doesn't give his time to me, he gives it to you, which is exactly how it shouldn't be, I replied, frustrated. I don't believe this. This is so childish of you. I added, raising my voice. Don't you dare yell at me and call me a child, Jackie shot back. Okay, relax, both of you, Rob intervened. Yelling won't solve anything. What will fix this, Rob? Do you have any bright ideas? Jackie asked, her tone suddenly shifting, which made me uneasy. Look, I can see there's a problem. I think the only way to solve this is for you two to spend some time alone together, trying to understand each other. Maybe a change of pace, do something fun together instead of just handling the house and work, Rob suggested. What are you suggesting? Jackie asked, curious. Take a trip. I think a little family vacation would be a wonderful idea. The weather here is a bit annoying right now anyway. Wouldn't you like an exotic trip, Jackie? Rob offered. Oh, I most certainly would, but what makes you think we can afford one after the wedding? Jackie replied. Don't worry about that. I have a friend who runs a travel company. I can take care of most of the expenses. Consider it a gift from Nancy's brother, Rob said reassuringly. Are you serious right now? Where would we even go? Jackie asked, surprised. How does France sound? Rob suggested. Oh my God, France sounds lovely. Rob, you don't have to do this. It'll be so expensive for you guys, I said, feeling a bit guilty. Come on, Nancy, it's a gift. You have to appreciate it, Rob insisted. But there's a condition, Rob added. Jackie, you too, Nancy. The two of you have to try to get along with each other. We'll do our best, won't we, Nancy? Jackie said, her eyes suddenly full of promise. I'd never seen her this excited before, not even at the wedding. I didn't fully trust her, but I did deserve a break from everything. France sounded lovely this time of year, so I agreed. That evening when Paul came home, we broke the news to him. He was ecstatic and dropped his work bag to celebrate with us. Finally, it felt like the three of us were getting along. I was skeptical at first, but maybe Rob's idea was working. Paul managed to get a few days off from work the next week, and we started packing for the trip. Hey, do you remember the cute bags we got for our little trip to Florida? The ones that look alike? Paul asked. Yes, do you think we should take them with us? I replied. Of course. I love those bags, they remind me of that trip, Paul said, smiling. Jackie seemed a bit detached from us. She often called someone and talked to them for hours. I thought she might be realizing her mistakes and giving us some space, but she still made some odd comments about Paul not giving her enough time. She didn't talk to me much, but one time I overheard her and Paul arguing in her room. The door was closed, so I couldn't hear much. Mom, she's my wife. I have to give her at least a little time. I thought you were okay now. What's wrong? Paul said. I'm not okay. I want to be, but I'm not. I still can't get myself to like her, Jackie admitted. What do you want me to do? Paul asked, frustrated. I need to have more time with you. You were like this when I had you, but that's why we're taking the trip, so you get to like each other. And I'm always going to be around, aren't I? Paul said, trying to reason with her. All of you are living in fantasies. Fine, I'll do something about this myself, Jackie snapped. What are you going to do? Paul asked. Look, here's the plan and I need you to go along with it, Jackie whispered. I couldn't hear the rest, but I knew they had some plan. I was concerned but didn't do much about it. I hoped everything would work out fine if I just paid attention to what they were doing. We packed our bags. Both mine and Paul's looked similar, but I could always tell which was which by the weight. On the day of departure, Jackie looked unusually happy. She even talked to me and didn't make any weird faces. I found it intriguing, but guessed it was because we were finally going on the trip. At the airport, we had to go through customs. We put our bags on the conveyor belt to be scanned. Jackie leaned in to whisper something odd in my ear. It's going to be such fun. I didn't say anything. I already knew what she was up to. We moved through the line. My bags were inspected, and everything was fine, so I was allowed to go through customs. When I turned around, I saw Jackie's face filled with confusion. What was she scheming? Then it hit me. Paul hadn't come out yet. We looked around to see officers rushing to the customer counter. They were escorting Paul away as he pleaded, Please, please, I'm so sorry. I didn't do anything. I don't know where that came from. Jackie rushed to his aid, but the officers held her back. Please stay back, ma'am. We found something illegal with this person. We need to take him to interrogation. He's my son. Please, he didn't do anything wrong. Jackie cried, but her pleas were in vain. Jackie had a breakdown right there in public, but I didn't move an inch. I knew what was going through that woman's head. She must have been cursing herself for what she did. Jackie had tried planting a small pack of drugs in my bag before we left, and she was successful. The bags looked identical, but she recognized mine and put the pack in it. But why didn't I get caught? It's because I removed it from my bag and put it in Paul's instead. They planned on excluding me from the trip entirely, so I turned their plan against them. I had the biggest smile on my face when Jackie looked back at me through her tears. She deserved what she got. I took my vacation to France and divorced Paul once I got back. I was hoping to make things work, but this was a clear sign that they never would. I stood my ground just like my brother had told me to. It was the justice I deserved.